The history panel is really useful. I recommend getting used to having it open at times on your screen. You can also open it and dock it, but it's something that you definitely want to be aware of and coming back and forth to. So I have it open right now. I opened it by clicking on this little icon. And remember, if you can't find one of your panels, you can go up to Window and look for it. If it's already checked, that means it's open somewhere on your screen. And then if I don't want to keep it open, I can click on the double arrows, and that's going to dock it again in the icon. So I'm going to make some changes to this, and then we're going to talk about the history panel. What I did in a previous exercise was I took my crop tool and then the straighten option, and I used the straighten feature to straighten this image, and then I made my crop. Okay, so here it is, and it's been recorded in my history panel. I'm now going to go ahead and make some other changes, some color changes to this image. But in case I don't like them and I want to get back to this state here, I'm going to go down to my history panel and I'm going to click on the icon of the camera. And that's going to create a snapshot of the state that I'm in. So what the history panel will do is it's going to create snapshots of up to 50 states. And you can change how many states. So a state is every time I do a step, by going over to Edit, Preferences, and choose Performance. And it's under Performance because if you put in that you want it to record 200 states, it actually is more taxing on your system and it can start to slow down Photoshop. So 50 states is pretty good. So this is going to record, again, states means your steps. Like every single paintbrush mark I make is going to be recorded as one step. So right now I have mine set to 50, which is pretty good. All right, and I created a snapshot at that state. I'm going to close this up, and I'm going to just do some simple like effects things to here. I'm going to come over to the brushes here. You may have the dodge tool on the top. That's a dodge, burn, and sponge tool. Take my sponge tool and go up to the modes in my options bar, and I'm going to choose saturate. And I'm just going to kind of make this look otherworldly. I'm going to saturate, so I'm increasing the intensity of the colors up here at the top. I'm going to make my brush larger by using that right bracket key, and you see how it's like starting to pop up. It looks quite alien there for a moment. Okay, and now let's look at the history panel, sorry. And you can see every time I press down, that was recorded as a state. And if I want to go backwards and see what did it look like per step, I can just click on the state. So you're not clicking here in the box. That's for something else. I'm clicking on the state. I could also jump around. But something to keep in mind is if I jump back to here and now I went to my tools and I started working on this again, all of these states will get deleted. And I'll just show you what I mean. So let's say I just take my paintbrush tool and I start painting into the sky and watch my history panel, and they're now gone. So I'm going to undo that. I don't like that. And go back to my sponge. And I'm just going to bring back that sort of super saturated look. Okay, and you can see every time I'm moving, ooh, that one maybe went a little bit far, but that's okay. And now, just to create some sort of dramatic effect, I'm going to change my sponge tool to desaturate. And I'm going to, with my first, make my brush large, and I'm going to go around and make everything on the road desaturated so that my red kind of pops out. And again, this is, I'm just playing here. Don't really have a great objective in mind. It's more than anything just to show you how the history panel works. Make my brush smaller as I get in closer here, and just making lots of little strokes until it gets to be kind of the way that I'm looking for, which is the outside to be desaturated and the background and my book, my roadkill book, to be like super bright. Again, I'm going to make the brush very small to get in closer. You also could like zoom in, would be the best way to work. Zoom in, go back to that, make the brush small, and just go around. All right, I'm not going to try to get this perfect or anything. That works. So you can see how all of these stages are being recorded. All right, so I'm going to create another recording of a snapshot here by clicking on the camera, and so now it's up here. And then let's do some other kind of change. I pointed out if you go to Image Adjustments We've talked a little bit about, I think, black and white. I went into there. I'm just going to pick a different adjustment. So I'm going to pick some that's some kind of effect. Oh, I'll do invert, and we get it to look completely strange. And I'm going to make a snapshot here. Okay, so now I want to be able to look back at all my snapshots and see, do I have a preference? See how it looked. So my very first snapshot is the way the image looked when it first opened. So I could make a total mess here, and I could go beyond 50 states where it's no longer recording and decide I want to get back to my image. And instead of having to close it out without saving and open it up again, I can just go back to my original state. I could click on snapshot 1, and that shows me just the first state that I recorded, which was simply my original image that I had straightened. Snapshot 2 was after I had made my saturation and desaturation, and snapshot 3 was after I had made the effect of the invert. So if I decided, I don't really like that last one there, that invert, two things I could do. Either I could work directly from snapshot 2, I could select that, and now I could start working, or just picking up where I left off, go back into my history panel and step back. And so now I am at the stage before I did that, and now I could continue doing things. So this can be really helpful for kind of giving you the freedom to go about and make like changes in your image, because you could always get back. My recommendation is, as you're working and you're experimenting, just make snapshots and see as an easy way to be able to get back, like, oh, do I like the way it looked before I did that? Am I going too far? It can help give you that perspective. But lastly, the thing that you can do is, if you decide I like this version, then you can create a new document from any one of these states, either from a snapshot or from a state, wherever you are. So if I close my image right now and I open it up, my snapshots and my history panel are not saved. All of that gets wiped every single time. So if I want to have this as a version, I could do a file save as, or I could click on the icon down at the bottom that is for creating a new document. I click on it, and now I'm actually in a new document, and it's called Snapshot 2, and you can see I don't have any other layers. And if I open up my state, I'm only have this one thing here. Sorry, if I open up my history panel, I only have duplicate state here. And roadkill's back over here. So it created a new image for me, or it copied the image for me from my history panel over here, which is pretty cool. So open that up again, and what if I wanted to create another version or save a copy from this state? So I could do the same thing. And now I'll close that up. So now I have my original roadkill here, and I'm going to bring that back to its original. So that's my original roadkill here. And then I have snapshot 2, which again was just a state from my history panel, as its own document. And then I have snapshot 3. And so now I would want to go and save these with different names. But the idea is it saves you a little bit of work, because I don't have to like create a new document and copy and paste or do like lots of save as. So it's up to you if you ever want to use that feature or not. I think it's kind of a cool feature for just quickly duplicating or making a document from your state. And again, I could have done it from any one of these states. I could click on any state right here and then create a new document from it, and it's going to do that, and it's just going to call it whatever the name of the state was that I was on. All right, so that's pretty much it for the history panel. Definitely recommend using it, and also, if for nothing else, it just helps you go back in your history panel if you want to undo multiple steps.